everybody. Welcome to the Hello Road podcast. My name is Ethan.
My name is Paul.
And it's been a few months since we've recorded last. I think it was in October. I know we're a little bit behind.
And we said we're going to do it every week, but
we did say that.
But that's so we're not going to say that this time. We're just going to say the next one's going to be coming out sometime soon, so we don't jinx ourselves. And we'll be back here.
Yes.
Next week.
Yes, lots of stuff has been going on next week. Yeah, next week. Yeah, for sure. Lots of stuff's been going on in our lives. We don't need to get into the gritty details, but here today we are ready to talk about our car adventures, plans we have for 2022 for our cars. Remember back like a couple years ago where you said we were going to do a rally and then COVID hit?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yes, that was great.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was awful. Everybody hated it. Yes, many people died. Are we starting this off on a really bad note? Let's try to pick it up a notch. Okay, so let's talk.
2022, new year, new us. So.
Yes, exactly. So I have a lot of crappy cars in my yard still kind of sitting there doing not a whole lot. You've got a few vehicles there.
I do have a few, but you have a few new crappy cars in your on your property.
This is true. They're some of them haven't really been driven all that much, but there are a few things there. We should talk about Radwood. We should talk about Autopia 2099. Yep. What else do you want to talk about today?
Well, we always talk about my one project car.
Well, and also, there's also that Daihatsu that you're kind of closely following on Bring a Trailer.
Oh, yes, the Bring a Trailer Daihatsu. We can,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it'll be great. So this is the table of contents, and then,
yes.
We'll break it up. Yeah, I mean, where do we even start? I mean, it has been since October, so I think, it would probably be the best to kind of cover what had kind of transpired since then. So I know we had two huge shows. I mean, we had Radwood, which is obviously... one of the biggest shows of the year, especially the Los Angeles show. Yes. Because we're local to Los Angeles. I did not attend this year. I know. I was very sad.
You would have had the only Daihatsu there. Actually, there was a Rocky there, so maybe one of two. Daihatsus
one of
there.
Two.
Yeah,
could have parked next to each other.
Yes.
Very unfortunate. But I'm gonna make it happen. I know it. I feel it in my bones. 2022 is the year.
Here's the thing. If you bring the charade to every single Radwood, everybody's going to be stoked because how many charades are left? I don't care if you bring that same charade to the next for Radwoods for the next 20 years. People are going to be excited to see it.
Yeah, it just kind of becomes the mascot,
Yes,
and
it does.
With its terribly painted hood and its torn interior. Actually, we'll get into that kind of stuff later. But no, you're right, and I should do that. I really should. So I really wanted to go this year, but I just, with everything going on, forgot the dates, and I ended up booking a little quick family trip up to Big Bear. This is obviously before the pandemic was super crazy as it's been getting
bad right now.
So it was kind of nice, but it was cool. So that's why I wasn't there. But I saw some cool stuff, and then of all things, I think it was the morning of Radwood or the night before, you posted up the picture on your Instagram of newly acquired rad automobile. Well, it's not an automobile; it's a truck. Is a truck an automobile?
Yes, it's an automobile.
Or is it a truck?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's both, but I don't know. There's all sorts of terms: vehicle, car, truck. Yeah, but it's not a car, I guess.
It's not. Is it an automobile though? I don't know. This is
know.
like the hot dog being a sandwich thing.
Yes, exactly. Oh. I don't know. This could get really deep. I don't know if we should get into this right now.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, it is a vehicle. We can say that for sure.
It is a vehicle.
Yes. So,
but it was super cool. I was like, what? I don't think I've seen one of those things since 1993. What did you buy?
So I purchased a 1992 Ford F-150 Flareside.
Flareside.
Yes, a Flareside. And this is a vehicle that has been in my neighborhood for a couple of years. This kid owned it.
Okay.
And I used to walk by it and just think it was a pretty nice looking vehicle. It had a fresh paint job, really nice silver paint, really clean. Like you don't see 92 F-150s this clean.
No.
So
the majority of the 92s, like that generation, you see the diesels around all the time.
Yeah.
It's rare that you would see like, I guess you would probably see, the V8s, but the majority of them were like the diesels, like, and especially the Flareside. I was just like, man, that's something that you saw it every day if it was in your neighborhood. So
yeah,
So
I mean, I just I walk my dog by it every day, and I just thought, oh, that's a really clean looking vehicle. And then I thought, I'm an idiot. I have a lot of cars in my driveway, and I'll buy a new one for Radwood because why not? Yeah. So, most of my cars are cheap crap, and I had a little bit of money saved up because I don't spend very much money on vehicles. And I thought, you know what? We kind of need a truck to do some stuff around the house. Why don't I see what's on Craigslist? So I went on Craigslist, and sure enough, right there is that my neighbor's F-150 Flareside. There wasn't even a for sale sign on it or anything like that.
Who would have thought?
I saw it on Craigslist. So then I was like, oh, I know where that car is. So then it made buying it really easy because I just walked over to the dude's house. I test drove it around the neighborhood, and it's in
is so cool.
Pretty good shape. The paint had been repainted. The paint is really nice. Transmission was rebuilt last year. It's got 158,000 miles, something like that. But the interior is nice. They had the leather seats redone. A bunch of other things had been redone. It's in really, really good shape. And I would not ever have really thought about the Flareside, like to purchase a vehicle, especially back in the day. It's kind of a stupid idea. Like, let's take this utility vehicle and make it
unusable, almost.
Exactly. That's the thing. And back in the day, they kind of marketed this thing as like a personal vehicle, like a quote personal vehicle. This was like the start of like people buying trucks to not really be trucks.
Right. I think it came out around the same time. There was a lot of like I don't even know if Chevy called them Silverados at the time, but the Chevy trucks, I'm sure everybody's seen them. They were like, they came from the factory like lowered, I guess, and they were always teal.
Yes, exactly. Teal or like maroon or something.
Like sometimes. A maroon was another color, like a fuchsia. And I had a friend growing up whose dad had one of those things, and like he was like, yeah, like the way he would stand next to it, like, yeah, this is my truck. But it's like it was lowered and it had like a bed cover on it and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of the same thing with Ford when the Flareside came out, because I actually. I don't think I knew that the F-150s, or I forgot the F-150s came with the Flareside. I remember the Rangers because of the infamous Ranger Splash that was kind of a big thing when that came out. I guess that was 94, 95 that Splash came out. Okay, so it's got 158,000 miles, new paint job, newly redone leather seats, newly rebuilt transmission. I mean, sounds like a good truck.
It's a great truck. It's just, I think part of the problem is I bought a truck that I didn't need, and I didn't really think it through, like most of my vehicle purchases, because it's too nice, honestly, to like use for anything. Like I go to Lowe's and I don't want to scratch anything.
You don't want to
scratch it's perfect. Like the paint is immaculate. So it's definitely, and my wife has the polar opposite like view on cars. Like she buys a car and she's like, just drive it into the ground. She doesn't give a shit if like the wheels get scratched or they get a little dent. It's like she doesn't care. So then she's like, oh, we have a work truck now. I'm like, well, not exactly. No, because I remember one time I had a pretty nice Nissan Titan. I forget what year. It was a 2004. And she scratched the bed putting rocks into it because we were using it as a truck.
Right.
And I cringed and I got sad, but I'm like, and I felt so stupid, like getting upset about a truck getting scratched. But I have to get past that. I have to like actually use the truck as a truck, or I need to sell this Flareside that I just bought and actually just get a truck that I beat up on.
There you go.
Anyway, so the Flareside was sort of an impulse buy. I really don't intend on keeping it very long. I'm not really a quote truck guy,
right. But it's nice to have one. I mean, when you need it, it's like, oh, we need to go. I found this couch on OfferUp, or I found this chair or this pool table or whatever it may be. I need a truck. Or, oh, my friend's giving away his old toolbox. I need to go pick it up. need a truck.
Yeah.
You know, that those are the times you're like, hell yeah, I'm glad I have this thing, because if I didn't, man, this would be really a pain in the ass to fit into my Scion XB or my Honda Fit. So
Yes, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
okay. Well, so I mean, it sounds super nice. Like
It's a really nice truck. It cruises nice. Like driving it down to Radwood, it was really lovely. Like everything works. The AC works. Heat. You know, like there's nothing about it that doesn't work. Although I will say I did engage the parking brake, and when I disengaged it, the whole handle came loose. I have to fix that. But yeah, it's really nice. It's got power windows. It's got, you know, kind of a ugly Bluetooth stereo in it, but it works. You know.
Sounds great. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, not bad. It's
and you don't see, like I said, you don't see the Flaresides. Like
Never.
when you posted the thing up, I hadn't seen one since probably 1994.
Well,
you know, you just don't see them.
Yeah, and you know it's silver. When I said I bought it, the first thing people asked was, "Is it pink?" Because they had this kind of like pinkish, like fuchsia color or whatever.
Yeah,
kind of like a darker
I remember
pink.
that one.
And it's like, no, it's silver. However, I believe that the silver versions did from the factory have like a pink or a red stripe along the bottom, and mine does not. So I might add that.
Yeah.
Totally. And I also just kind of do feel like the truck needs some like 80s graphics, like splash graphics along the side, even if it didn't come with it.
Yeah,
it sort of kind of fits it.
That just adds to the flavor of it. So,
yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, so
Flareside.
So that's what you took to Radwood, and so Radwood this year was at the. That's the other thing too, is it's like it was at the Honda headquarters. So I was I
doubly missed out.
I doubly missed out, but I was going to feel blasphemous driving my car that was not made by Honda onto the hollowed ground that is the American Honda headquarters. As we're recording this, folks, I am wearing my Honda hat. Yes, you know, that's how deep the love goes. But yeah, so it was there, and like I was looking at the pictures. I mean, it looked like an absolute massive place. I've actually never been there, but it looked like it looked like it was a pretty decent sized venue for the event. So how was it?
Yes.
How was it?
So
for those that weren't there, like
for those that weren't there, yes, let's tell you all about it. So yes, extremely large venue, because there was the right in front of the campus, the American Honda campus. There's a nice, huge green like grass area, and then there's tons of parking. So a lot of the show, like all of the like Honda collection cars, you know, like from their their vintage collection. They had an old CRX and a bunch of Integras and stuff like that. Those were all on the lawn, like really nicely displayed. And actually, that was the reason why I didn't want to bring my Integra to the show, because I just knew there was already going to be 1,000 Integras there, and there were a bunch. So,
there were.
Yeah, there were quite a few. And actually, I did talk to a guy that basically had the same car as me, just it was an automatic. But so yeah, really nice. And the show was huge. Like this was a gigantic show of 80s and 90s cars, maybe the largest in terms of square footage, like largest Radwood show I've been to.
Okay.
So yeah, lots and lots and lots of cars. It kind of seemingly went on forever. I don't think I even got to see all of them. I tried.
Oh wow.
And lots of really cool stuff there. There was, I did try to talk to a bunch of people. And in the video that I did, one of my favorites was the Geo Metro convertible, also in that kind of like pink color.
Yes.
It was a really nice Saab 900 SPG that I loved, that I would love to own, but I would be scared to own it just because it would, I don't know, not really.
Says the man that owns a 400,000 mile 944 turbo.
Yeah, the SPG, even a 50,000 mile SPG is probably more unreliable than a 400,000 mile 944. I don't know. There's so much good stuff. I mean, anytime you go to a Radwood show, you know you're going to see some cool stuff, and you know you're going to see some stuff that you hadn't seen before, you haven't seen in a long time.
Right.
And really nice examples of vehicles that people have cared for, or they were barn finds, or, and just, as we've talked about many times in the past, I love Radwood just in the sense that it's so inclusive to, just a really generally inclusive nature, where you can have a Geo Metro convertible parked right next to a Consigliere or a Testarossa or something like
Right.
that, where there's just such, and they don't try to like segment it into different categories. And actually, that's one of the things that I didn't quite like about JCCS, the Japanese Classic Car Show, was that it was sort of like grouped by marque. And
the Toyota section, the Honda section, the Mitsubishis,
And I wish it was more intermingled because, while I love that show was awesome. It definitely felt like, okay, well, I'm kind of getting sick of Toyotas now. I'm going to go over to the Honda section.
Right.
And that's the nice thing about Radwood is just, obviously they have the Radwood royalty section where people pay a little bit more to showcase their stuff. Really everywhere else it's just kind of like you got a Mitsubishi next to a Daihatsu, next to a Ferrari, next to a Cadillac. And that's really nice because there's just unexpected surprises, the whole time you're there.
Exactly. That's one of my favorite things about the show is having that randomness just about like I remember at the Las Vegas show, like there was like those like it was that 964 Porsche, and then there was I think there was a 944 turbo, so it was two Porsches, but then it was like what the hell else was there? There was something else that was like just unexpected, but it was white. They were all white. They were like kind of facing each other. Yeah. It was like, see, that's the kind of cool thing I like about how the guys stage up the show, and it makes it fresh and exciting. And not that JCCS is bad the way that they do it, but it is like, oh, there's a huge clump of people next to all like the old Toyota Land Cruisers because that's what's like super hot this year. But yet there's nobody next to like this clump of Honda S cars from like the 1960s that like, it kind of makes it, good and bad, I guess, if you're like an automotive photographer or if you're a real fan of some of those cars, But yeah, though, I mean, seeing some of the cars that are there, it's always amazing seeing things because like just like your Flareside that I hadn't seen one that I can remember since like 1994. Yeah. But like, just seeing all the other stuff there and like there's still stuff being posted to this day and we're, months past the show and people are still posting up pictures of like there was an Eagle premiere that got posted up today on Instagram and I was like, that's awesome that like, everything gets its time in the spotlight. When it comes to Radwood, it's like, oh, somebody saw something that like they hadn't seen forever, and so let's put it out to the masses so everybody else that wasn't there gets to see it. So that's cool.
Yep. Yeah, and it I think the thing about like a show like I go to the Los Angeles Cars and Coffee, the one at Griffith Park occasionally. It's the last Sunday of every month. It's usually awesome. I mean, it's a really good car show in itself, and that's free. But that's kind of the same thing too, where like sometimes the Land Cruiser crew gets there early, and then there's like 10 Land Cruisers parked next to each other. And I don't know, I look at one and then I just walk by the rest of them because I saw one. Yeah. I don't need to see all of them. I mean, I suppose if you're a Land Cruiser person, you're driving there, it's fun because you can hang out with your peeps. I just said peeps. I don't think that word is allowed on this podcast. I'm sorry about that. But yeah,
isn't that the candy that you eat around Easter?
I don't eat those. They're terrible.
they're horrible. I put them in the microwave. Let them catch fire.
Yes, exactly.
But no, I get what you mean. Like if that's your people, then like cool, you'll see it. Like I'll tell you, if I go to that show and like, not that this would ever happen. I mean, if it did, it'd be freaking awesome. But if like there's like 10 Toyota Sports 800s in a row, I'm going to just basically go Googa Gaga over each and every one of those, looking at each and every detail on it. Because it's like, that's my thing. But like,
well, and that's a little
nice
different
when it's spread out,
Sure. And that is a little different because, I've seen a lot of Land Cruisers. I've only seen a handful of Sports 800s. But the same thing with Daihatsus. If there was if there were like 10 Daihatsus at Radwood, I would probably look at every single one of them. That's a different story. If there were 10 Daihatsu charades.
That's something you wouldn't see unless you were making a diorama of a Daihatsu dealership in 1991 or something.
Or if you rounded up the last 10 Daihatsus charades that are still on the road in the United States.
Yeah, there's probably 10 of them. So
yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, it sounds like it was a great event. I'm really displeased with myself that I missed the show, but this is a new year, 2022, and come hell or high water, I'll be there when we have our LA show, which when the time comes around, it'll be, early December, late November, and
Sure. Yeah, I think it's gonna be November. Yep.
It'll be awesome. But there was another show that was like, what, a week later? Was it a week later?
A couple weeks later, yes.
A couple weeks later. So I want to know about this one because I unfortunately didn't go to this one either.
Oh,
I am so bad.
Jeez.
I need to go to detention or something like that. It's like I didn't go to this one, but oh my gosh, this was so cool. So tell us, because you were there, you were involved with this a bit too, right?
Yes.
Am I going to say it wrong? Autopia or Autopia?
Yeah, Autopia. Yes. Autopia 2099. Yes.
2099. So electric.
This is a show for all electrified vehicles. So that does include hybrids. There were a few hybrids there. So yeah, this is all about trying to like harness the groundswell of enthusiasm that's brewing for electrified vehicles.
It seems like it's just in my face every single day now. Like electric. It's just like getting
for sure
flashed at me like that Pokemon cartoon back from the 90s that like gave all the kids the problems. Like it's like electric. You need an electric car. That's what it seems like.
Well, yeah,
every day.
And the thing is, yes, there's lots and lots of the car companies all know they have to do something in this arena, but there's that aspect of it. There's the aspect of like trying to, try to make vehicles that are more efficient and better for the environment long term. But there's also the side of it that's the enthusiast side and trying to like capture that enthusiasm for people that are doing like their homebrew builds, companies that are helping people do their like EV conversions. And bringing all those people together, electric motorcycles and skateboards and scooters and all those types of electrified transportation,
sure,
and really try to bring all those people together and make it fun, because a lot of people view electric vehicles as an appliance, as a kind of a computer, something that you can't have fun with, something you can't be an enthusiast of, and that's just not the case.
Nope.
It like the first time you drive one, yeah, you might lament the loss of a manual transmission, but instant torque, no transmission, just really, like the Mach-E. I haven't driven the Mustang Mach-E yet, but I've seen a lot of videos of people on driving these things on how much fun they can be, especially the GT. I've driven quite a few EVs, and there are even the kind of like quote slow EVs are still satisfying.
They're probably still faster than my Fit or my Daihatsu. That's for damn sure.
Like the Volkswagen ID4. Yes, there's many problems with the infotainment and all that stuff. We won't get into that today. And that's not a fast EV. That's like a 7 second 0 to 60. But still, it's instant torque, completely linear, and that's an experience that a lot of people don't have. So yeah, the show was to try to bring all those people together and really try to keep it just kind of a small, like sort of an intimate kind of party atmosphere. The whole idea was let's get all these people together to just kind of like have fun and talk about electric vehicles. And
that's kind of what I saw, like that's what I kind of saw in the posts and stuff that you and our friend Brad had been posting. Everybody was like, it seemed like an intimate party, almost like a product launch party. That's what it kind of felt like, is like the first inaugural event. But I mean, there was more than just like homebrew EV cars there. Like you guys had a Formula E car there, correct, from Nissan, right?
Yeah, so Nissan was the title sponsor. They brought a Formula E car, which was awesome. I mean, it was so cool to see that there. Obviously they're there to really try to promote their new Aria, and obviously they're still selling the Leaf. And that's not exactly a new EV, but there's Nissan really kind of started the mainstream EV movement. It was them. People forget. Because Tesla kind of overtook them in terms of sales, but Nissan was really the company with the original Leaf to kind of get that started.
They were.
So
I'd rather have a Leaf than a Tesla, but
yeah, I would have. It's funny. I was talking with a friend about this today, how like 4 years ago, I was like, I need to replace the Prius with something. I think I'm going to get a Tesla. And just within the last few years, like just so many things about Tesla have gotten batshit crazy, especially Elon
Yeah.
Musk, that there's no way
Yeah.
in hell I would ever buy a Tesla today.
Yeah.
Just because I can't support that.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Can't support that.
I get it.
But anyway,
But
there
the
were
Formula
Teslas
E,
there.
but
I don't have a
Teslas
problem.
there.
I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with people owning Teslas and being enthusiastic about them. And
that's
but
fine.
There's so many things about the company that, me personally, I would never buy one.
I like watching them. I like watching them spin out at track days because they're rear engine and people don't know that you're not supposed to lift in the mid corner. That it happens so often at the racetrack. Like everybody's like, "Oh, I got my Model 3, cool. Don't lift to the corners." What? And then around they go. Around they go. All right, bye.
Yeah, it's like a. Oh jeez.
That's just that. It was so cool though. I mean, I really regret not going because, especially getting to see the Formula E car in person, like being the big racing nut I am, Formula E is like, of all the racing series that's out there that you can watch between Formula One, IndyCar, for open wheel stuff, like Formula E is by far the most like, it's almost like the WWE or WWF of wrestling. It's just like, it's so batshit crazy. Like,
Sure.
Anybody can win the race. It's not like Formula One where it's like there's going to be one person,
Yes.
always, or two people in the case of this last season, or IndyCar, which is like only the top 5 team, or the Formula E is crazy. So it would have been really cool to see one of those up close. I mean, did they let you guys sit in it? Like I think that would have been cool.
I didn't sit in it. I probably should have just done it and apologized later, but I did not. They probably would have been maybe okay with it. I'm not sure.
That's cool though. That's so cool that was there, and like there was a couple like resto mods. I guess you would say resto electronic mods. I don't know. I don't even know how the hell you would say that.
I'm not even really sure what you'd call these because they're so different. Best swap. So we did awards. A lot of people got awards. The best swap was the Tesla powered 1950 Jaguar. And that was amazing.
So cool.
The guy who owns it, I think he's Super Fast Matt on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool. He basically just bought this old kind of, really nice kind of like Rolls Royce looking Jag. Like if you look at a Jag from that era and you look at a Rolls Royce from that era, they look so similar. It's kind of like a Rolls Royce knockoff.
Okay.
But yeah, basically, he used to work for Tesla, so he kind of had a leg up in terms of like knowing, and he also is an engineer. So doing the swap
that helps a little bit.
He kind of made it sound pretty damn easy. Like I was listening to him talking about it, I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm kind of an idiot, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was pretty neat. He basically took Model 3 guts, which a lot of swap people haven't done yet. So that's kind of that's kind of cool. So it wasn't quite done. So he won best swap. Best in show actually went to the Electrovare, which was a 1962 or 63 Corvair.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, like really well done, well done swap. And I think that's Electrovare on Instagram if anyone wants to check it out.
I actually know who that person is because a lot of people, because I work for a shop that caters to 2002s and E30s, and so there's a lot of enthusiasm with turning a lot of the 2002s into electrics, and so the same Electrovare, he did that one, and he's working on some 2002s.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
A BMW E9, I think. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Oops.
Wow.
Delete that. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. He probably. I mean, I'm sure he listens, of course, but
yes, exactly.
But like. So I get to see, he told me about this thing that was coming up, and he's told me about how he went to the Autopia show, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I explained all like, oh yeah, I know Ethan and I know Brad, and like, they're the ones that are putting this on. I'm like, this is so cool that you're doing this. So, but he's a cool dude, and like the plans he has for the future with some of these cars, and it's cool because you talk about some of these vintage cars like Corvairs, they're popular, but at the same time, like, they're a 50-year-old car at this point, and as popular as they are with enthusiasts, like things are starting to get thin in the skin in terms of like parts availability and stuff. And I see that in my day-to-day job working with 2002s. Like, okay, this is not available anymore. All right, what are we gonna have to do? And like, we're gonna have to reproduce the part. And like, but for the motor wise, like things are kind of there, but people are starting to think like, well, you know what? What if I don't put the old M10 4-cylinder in this car anymore? What if I try to make this thing electric? What can we do? And then things like start happening, and it's really cool to see, because you have these old cars that, you know, kind of have a new lease on life with, like, you know, a Tesla drivetrain or whatever it is that they're going to be doing. I know that there's some companies, some of the, like, I think, is it Ford or Chevrolet that's coming out with like that, like, drop-in, like, EV motor that's supposed to go in. I mean, that's cool as shit. Like, cool, bring it. Let's put them in the cars, because a 2002 from, you know, in its day made maybe 100 horsepower, and like, you put these things in there and they're going to go a hell of a lot faster than that.
True.
And you're going to have all the little fun things to go along with it. And the same goes with like a Corvair. Like, a Corvair is probably like the most perfect example of a car to EV swap, because the thing's already rear engine. It's the same with like a Volkswagen Bug or a Porsche 911, anything that was rear engine, you know, a Hillman Imp, I don't know, electrify it, because it's already rear engine, rear wheel drive, and that's how it initially came. So there's not any sort of weirdness with it, but it's all coming. And I mean, that's cool that, you know, he won, and his Corvair was there, and it's awesome.
Yeah, there were a lot of really good stuff there. There was, you know, there were some newer Teslas that this guy had modified his Tesla to kind of make it sound like it actually had an engine in it, which was, you know, it's silly, but the kids loved it. The kids loved it. Like, every kid at the show loved this thing.
How did it sound like it had an engine in it? I gotta hear about this.
It sort of it was hooked up to the OBD2 sensor, and it had some sort of, he said it wasn't a speaker. It was some sort of like vibration system in the back that kind of made it sound like it had an engine in it. So, and it kind of mimicked the gears as he accelerated. So,
interesting.
You know, it's novelty, kind of silly, but also at the same time, it's unique, and people liked it. So,
but you know, things like that are happening. Like that new BMW iX4, i4, whatever the hell it's called, the new thing that's about to come out. It has a system where you can make it sound like a car, and it's done. Who the hell did it? Some like famous like music composer,
like Brian Eno or something.
That or John Williams. I don't know. Somebody came up with something where it's like, oh, you can make the car sound like a violin, like a violin bow as you accelerate. It's like,
oh, geez.
What in the hell? But you know, but that's going to be the thing in the future. You know, so this is, you saw like the genesis of this. Like, this is somebody's garage idea that's going to one day become a thing. Like, you know, in 20 years when you go to the Ford or Mazda dealer and you go to buy their new car, it's like, oh, well, what do you want it to sound like? You can just press this button and this button, and you know, you can make it sound like a ukulele, or you can sound like a kazoo, or we can make it sound like a flat 4 engine. You know, they can do whatever the hell you want, you know, just to make you happy, you know. Us old people that, you know, or I still want my car to sound like an engine, you know. It's just like, versus people that are like,
that's boring.
Like our daughters, you know, them when they're our age are going to be like, your car is too loud. You're not supposed to hear it.
I know. Why does your car not sound like a trumpet? Come on.
Yeah.
Give it a program.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's fun.
And there were also some sort of classic EVs there, which you don't kind of think. Well, you know, obviously EVs have been around for over 100 years. You know, Detroit Electric, I think that was like teens or early 20s. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, and actually it was easier to have an electric car back in the day, because there were the gas stations were not really kind of a thing. You're like, oh, it's easier to just charge up.
Kind of like now, there's not really a good infrastructure for all the EVs. It's coming up, but you know,
exactly. So yeah, there was a Toyota RAV4 EV, which that was the first generation RAV4, and that was built entirely by Toyota. There was you know, nickel metal hydride batteries or something like that. You know, and it was a setup that at the time had 100 miles of range, which, you know, the new Mazda MX-30 or whatever it's called, the
CX-30,
or no, their new
the new
EV,
one.
Yeah, that only has 100 miles of range, which everybody's crapping on that. But in general, but you know, this was 20 years earlier, having 100 miles of range. That was actually a pretty big deal.
I remember seeing that car at the Toyota Museum before they moved to Texas, they had that
Yeah.
really kick-ass museum in Torrance, and I remember seeing that car. It was like next to like the first generation Prius that was like perfectly preserved that I was drooling over. Well, that's awesome. So, but here's the question that I need to ask, and I think I may know the answer, but did somebody bring an EV1?
No, there was not an EV1 there. We are trying like heck to try to get an EV1 to one of these shows. There is one at the Peterson Auto Museum in Los Angeles.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe we can try to work something out with them to get it to the next Autopia show. And I should...
obviously doesn't have to drive. It can just be there, and everybody would just
tow it.
Lose it.
Exactly. And I have seen it. I have seen the one at the Peterson. It's been on display, and I don't know if it's still on display or if it's in their basement collection now. But
right,
yeah, that would be awesome. Yes,
yeah.
General Motors EV1.
Yeah, I still have that to hang over Brad's head. I got to ride in one back in the day.
That's pretty sweet.
Even though it was in my high school parking lot, I still got to ride in it.
That's rad. Yeah, so it's. You know, in terms of the people that put on the show, Bradley Brownell was kind of his idea, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to help do this?" So, you know, obviously, if you don't know Radwood, then you probably don't know Radwood.
Radwood.
But you know him, Kevin McCauley, who's at Capturing the Machine on Instagram. You know, he's an amazing photographer.
Yep.
Jeff Glucker, Hooniverse, everybody knows him. Chad Kirchner, he runs EV Pulse and Flat Sixes and a few other sites like that. So I'm kind of like the dork without a real or quote real car website, but I'm trying to make it work. You know.
Oh come on. You're Ethan of Hello Road fame.
That's true. Come on, that's worth something.
It is. It is. Wonderful videos coming at you, and a fine collection of fine automobiles.
Yes, mostly crap. That's fine.
Property that all started. We talked about that the last time. Remember, you got them all to start, except for
Liam Neeson. Yes.
Yeah, but that's okay. Damn, Liam Neeson.
I did just take that out from underneath the tarp today. It smelled really bad because of all the rain. I think there was a little leak in the tarp. So yeah, Liam Neeson is not looking very good right now.
Just adds to the ambiance. It
does.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So
yeah.
Well, cool. It sounds like Autopia 2099 was an awesome show, and I saw the announcement. So 2 shows in 2022. We're gonna do an LA show and a NorCal show. Correct.
Correct. So LA will be in December again.
Okay.
And NorCal, we're looking Bay Area. We're not exactly sure. We haven't picked a venue yet, but it's going to be in June.
Okay.
Most likely. You know, once we pick a venue, we'll be able to iron out the dates and all that stuff. But I hopefully, you know, obviously the first show we were super excited about how many people came. It was kind of a small show, but we were like pretty pleased, overwhelmed with like the amount of awesome cars that showed up. So
yeah, totally.
Hoping that just the next show is even bigger and better. So
it will be.
Yeah.
It's just like Radwood. You look at that first show. I mean, there was a decent turnout, but like what it's grown into, and I'm sure this is going to be the case because, like I said when we started talking about this, like it just seems like every day it's like EV, and like. You know, I've talked about it before. I'd love to. I mean, I'm a perfect candidate for an EV, and I'd love to own one.
Yeah.
You know, my commute is just 9 miles away, so I'm the perfect candidate for a maybe not a certified pre-owned, but like maybe a CarMaxed i3 or something. I still think those things are cool as hell.
Yeah, I love those.
And it'd be perfect. I don't need to worry about gas. Like right now, I can't drive my Fit to work tomorrow because I have to buy gas, and it's like super expensive. So the Daihatsu that's still got half a tank in it is going to work tomorrow. So
nice.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I mean, I'm very disappointed in myself that I missed the shows, but I think your recap made me visualize myself there, and so I feel like I was there in spirit. So thank you for that, Ethan. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure to all of our listeners out there who couldn't make the shows either. So awesome. So we talked about your Flareside. We talked about some shows.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, good stuff so far. I guess if you don't mind, I'd like to spend a few minutes, and we'll call this Paul's Daihatsu time.
This is Paul's Daihatsu time. Paul's corner.
Paul's corner.
I mean, we do need to hear about the Daihatsu because I do know that you were looking at. We should talk about your car, obviously.
Yeah,
but you were looking at that Daihatsu that's on Bring a Trailer right now. So that's. I will say, when I saw the picture of it, I initially cringed because of the wheels that are on it.
Yes.
But in general, it's a cool looking car minus those wheels.
Minus the wheels, yeah. Well, I'm here to correct all that. So,
okay, good.
so it popped up the other day that there was a Daihatsu Myra or Myra or however the hell you want to say it, because we never got the car here, so you can say it either way. Whatever you feel like. I say it both ways just because I like to mess with people. Sure. And it's a Ponco. I think that's how you say it too. Edition. I
don't even know what that is. What is that?
I can explain.
Okay,
because I know, because I'm a weirdo about Daihatsus.
Bring it.
Anyways, so it's a Myra. So a Myra is like their K car, one of the K cars that they made that was kind of big for a K. Not big for a K car, but it was kind of like meant for. It's just it would be the Honda Civic of K cars.
Okay.
But this one's got the 4-wheel drive system on it, which actually drops the power from like 63 horsepower, which is like the maximum, all the way down to 54.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's good times. But you have 4-wheel drive.
Sure.
Yeah, but the car came up for sale on Bring a Trailer, and I saw it on Twitter, and I was like immediately latched onto it, and I was like, well, nobody's bidding on it. So I've never bid on anything on Bring a Trailer, and I felt almost obligated as the unofficial president of the unofficial Daihatsu Car Club of America that I needed to bid on it. But me also operating my car budget on a Daihatsu sized car budget, I was like, well, they're going to charge my car $250. And I was like, so I can't really bid on it because I need to buy tires.
Wait,
so
they charge you? Wait, is there like a...
They hold it until the auction's over, and
got it.
I was like, I gotta buy tires, so I couldn't bid on it, unfortunately. But it's okay because like my maximum bid was gonna really legitimately be $500 for the car.
Okay, yeah.
Because the car, in all honesty, is probably worth maybe $2,000. So,
but the car is gonna sell for a lot more than that because it's Bring a Trailer.
Honestly, I'm thinking this is probably gonna set the record for being the most expensive Daihatsu sold in North America.
What is it up to now?
Well, last I checked, it was still the only one bid, or I think it had a second bid at $1,989.
Okay.
But honestly, it's going to turn into a little bit of a thing towards the end of the auction. I'm thinking it's going to go for between $8,000 to $10,000.
I would agree with that.
It does have very low mileage. It's only got 12,000 miles on it.
Whoa.
That's shown, but those cars also have like. I guess you would call it like a 4-digit odometer that's on it, because they were not meant to really be driven a whole lot. It's a city car. It was only supposed to be like kind of driven around in the city in Japan, so you weren't supposed to put a lot of miles on the thing.
Yeah.
So they didn't bother making the odometer a little bit bigger. That's what Daihatsu thought of back in the day.
And also, you got to save some pennies because
exactly.
inexpensive Daihatsu.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's a really cool car. The Ponco or Panko edition. The Panko is I'm saying it wrong. Somebody's gonna correct me, and that's fine.
I don't know what it is.
It's basically like a department store in Japan. So it's almost like saying, Parco. There you go. It's
there we go.
It's like saying it's like the Neiman Marcus edition or the Eddie Bauer edition. So it really was just like they put their logo on the seats. The seats are really cool in that car, by the way. Like I would love to steal those seats and put them in my charade. So yeah, but it does have incorrect wheels on it. They look like Enki 92s. I don't even know what the hell the model is, but they're actually American Racing, so they're a copy of the Enki wheel. But they're like some weird ass offset. They're like
it looks really bad.
Well, they're sticking out. They're like a probably like a zero offset that's meant for some rear wheel drive car, but they got 4 of them on there, so it looks terrible. But thankfully, the sellers, including the original 12-inch wheels, which is going to make the car look amazing. So
I mean, I applaud them for trying something, but it just doesn't really work with this car.
I think probably the person that imported it knew that it needed new tires and was having a very difficult time finding the 12-inch tires.
That's a good point.
So they probably just like, well, screw it. I'll just buy something that kind of fits and throw it on there and whatever. I'm just going to sell this thing and bring a trailer anyway. So, yeah, it's kind of a sad story because it looks like from what I read in the description, it was brought in last year.
Okay.
Under the 25-year import rule, and the person just wants to flip it, I guess. So maybe they, more power to them. And I'm gonna be a little jealous of whomever wins this because that would be something I would love to drive and I obviously own, but. It made me think about it because I was talking about it with my wife and she's like, well, if you really want it, we can, figure it out. And I was like, it's going to go for crazy money.
It is.
But it made me think about it what would be a car that it'd be some not unobtainium, but something rare or something stupid that you love. I love this model, but they have a super sporty one called the Myra or Myra TRXX.
Yeah.
It's got the turbocharger, it's front wheel drive, and it's meant for sports driving and stuff. That's something that okay, the savings has to get depleted.
That would be the one, yes.
And it's going down. Or if a Chery GTTI came up, or a Toyota Starlet, that would be a 97 that are available. Things like that would be okay, I have to own this car. I can't. This, as cool as it is to see this Myra or Myra, whatever the hell, we're going to call it a Myra, on Bring a Trailer and seeing it, and seeing people talk about it and talk about Daihatsus a little bit, it does warm my heart a lot to see that. Because oh yeah, I used to own a Charade, or, I had a Rocky back in the day.
Yeah.
Because they didn't sell any cars besides, those two here. So it's cool to see that. So I applaud that. I'm going to be watching the auction very carefully, and hopefully whomever wins it, is local to Southern California, and maybe we can do something with them and talk about the Myra, because I would love to do something like that with them. So so more power to them. So that's the little Myra. As of this recording, I think it's still got 4 days left on it. So
and it's 5 days is at $2,100 right now.
Oh, okay, so somebody else bid on it, but it'll get higher. Everything's we've talked about good old Bring a Trailer, and it's good. I think it's okay that things are getting sold for a lot of money on there because it's fine. I mean, a few years ago, you look at all these classic muscle cars that were selling at Mecum Auto Auctions for absurd amounts of money, and eventually it comes back down, and the same's going to be here. I mean, I think Bring a Trailer actually just had their most expensive sale with that Carrera GT that went for, was it 2.9 million or
something
2 million or
something
like that. I mean, but the car had 3,000 miles on it.
Yeah. There also was the Volvo 240 wagon that went for $36,000 or something.
There's some crazy stuff that you see, and it's just what? But
the thing is, honestly, I understand why people are upset, because it means that some of the cars from their childhood are now becoming out of reach.
Yeah.
Some of the cars that they really wanted to buy. There's plenty of cars that if I had thought about it 2 or 3 years ago, I should have just pulled the trigger, and I didn't.
Right.
And now it's kind of getting up there. But that's the thing. It's there's plenty of other great cars from other eras. I honestly think probably what's going to happen is Radwood era cars are even weird stuff. Even weird stuff that I like, that I usually is cheap, that I can just go on Craigslist and find something for, $1,000. That stuff's people are gonna think, oh, all this stuff is worth money now. And if people pay it, it is worth that much.
Yep.
Obviously Radwood, obviously Bring a Trailer is not the norm.
Right.
I sold my Stanza wagon for almost six grand on Bring a Trailer.
Right.
If I had listed that just on Craigslist, I probably would have only gotten 3. It's just,
Right.
there's that Bring a Trailer factor that just gets people excited.
There sure
at
is.
The last minute,
There sure
excitement. But what I was gonna say is that, okay, yeah, maybe we're starting to get to the point where Radwood era cars are getting too expensive for some people, but there's plenty of quote Litwood era cars, from 2000 to 2008 that are pretty cheap, that are really good.
Yeah.
And maybe it
totally.
doesn't give you the same nostalgia vibe or whatever, but there's some
even a lesser version of the car. Everybody goes goo goo gaga over BMW E30s 325i's, I gotta be 325i. Well, there's a 325e. It was
how
the
about that one?
efficient.
Yes,
it was
exactly.
the efficiency model, but it could still, it's the same suspension, you're just getting you're getting less power, but you still get the basics of the car,
Yes.
It doesn't have to be the top end of it. Like, it doesn't have to be an Integra Type R. It could be an LS.
Yes.
You still feel the Integra. There's still the Integra DNA running through it, or the, whatever have you from the Radwood era that it doesn't have to be the top thing. And that's the thing too with Bring a Trailer, is the majority of the stuff that's on there is usually either like one of, if not the best example of the car that's selling for X amount of money. Like your Stanza wagon, for example, like there's not that many of them left, and yours was in really good shape. You had sorted it out mechanically, you sorted it out cosmetically, and it's still like somebody's like, that's worth $6,000.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, there were probably no other Stanza wagons that had 50,000 miles on it. This was probably the only one that had 50,000 miles on it. Everything else is probably 100 plus. And you're right. That is the thing about Bring a Trailer, is that they do seem to focus on those survivors, the ones that are low miles. And I guess the counterpoint to all this is that if you actually just spend the time and look, you'll find deals still, on some of these cars. Yeah. So, okay. So for example, I was looking on Craigslist. We were looking at this earlier. There's a guy in my neighborhood who's trying to get $8,500 for an 87 Ford Crown Vic. And it's like, it's a very nice Crown Vic. It's got 76,000 miles, but it's been for sale for months. And just not even searching for Crown Vics on Craigslist, just literally pulling up Craigslist for places right over from it. There's another Crown Vic. It's actually in pretty nice shape. It's got 86,000 miles, $3,500. So, it just depends on who's trying to sell it, how much they really want to get rid of it. There's plenty of stuff on Facebook Marketplace that if you're really searching every day, you can find really good deals. You can look on OfferUp, you can find really good deals. The thing with Bring a Trailer is it's for people that don't want to search. So they're paying a premium for somebody to curate it. I mean, really, that's what it is. It's a curated feed of things that people want to buy, and they're going to pay a bunch of money for it. So
it's true.
I still don't really understand the $36,000 Volvo 240, because you can still find really nice ones for like $3 or $4 grand.
What was it? The 84,000? Was it 84,000 for that FJ Cruiser that had like under 30,000? It was like, what?
Well,
but it's a thing though. This is discontinued. You can't find these in this condition anymore. You really want it, you're going to pay for it. Okay?
I don't understand that, but I also understand that there's plenty of people with way too much money they don't know what to do with. There's tons of people that are just, that's nothing to them. And
that's true.
And it's like, are they a car enthusiast? I guess, there's a certain type of car enthusiast that I don't understand, and I don't really, get. But, if they have a garage that can fill like 30 or 40 cars, that's like, oh yeah, I would really like that car. I've always wanted one of those. I'll drive it 15 miles and sell it 2 years from now. I'm not sure, but
that's true.
I mean, I don't get it, but I think the thing is, there's plenty of deals still to be had on all types of cars. And even like you said, cars from the 60s and 70s, like some of that stuff is kind of coming down in value right now.
It is.
So
it sure is. And maybe we'll see that in the future. It's going to take a while, but we'll see it in the future. But once my Daihatsu reaches its value at being $100,000, just for the scarcity, then I'll think about selling it. But before I sell it, I actually do have some quick things I want to talk about that I'm doing.
We kind of derailed. We need to hear about what's going on.
No, we didn't derail. I think we had a great conversation about that. But I think that with everything that kind of happened in 2021 with various things in my life and stuff like that, I really kind of did lose my way a little bit when it came to my plans and my goals for the Daihatsu. So I've had these control arms here forever. I need to put them on. I need to get the car aligned. That needs to happen. So I'm going to work on that this weekend. But I also came across one of the things I always look for on eBay is I look for any sort of scarce things, and so I actually found like a workshop I actually found them a few times, but there's workshop manuals that like the dealers owned for these cars, and they usually sell for like $100, but somebody had one for like $30, and I was like, I'm buying that. So I have an actual workshop manual, so I feel good knowing that if I have to like rip that engine apart down to like the nitty gritty, I can do it now. So that's gonna be that's coming my way. And then I finally just decided to drop the hammer and get an actual I have a steering wheel hub coming from Momo because my good friend had given me a Momo steering wheel that was actually in his car. It was in his BMW, and after he had purchased it, I don't know if I've told the story before. He was inspecting it, and on the bottom of the steering wheel it says Daihatsu on it.
Weird.
And he's like, "What the hell is this?" So he asked me, and I figured it out. It was actually it's the Momo steering wheel that came out of the Charade de Tomaso edition.
Oh yeah.
So I have that steering wheel now, and it's only right that it goes into my Daihatsu, and so totally. I'm anxiously awaiting for my Momo steering wheel hub to come from the great country of Poland, which it's coming from, because they're the only place I could find it, and yeah, that's gonna be awesome. So I'm super excited to get that into the car and get those control arms on the car, and I kind of just have this renewed vigor with this year, thinking about, well, what do I want to do with the Charade? It's like you did put things really into perspective really well earlier, talking about like even if I brought just the Charade, the way it is with its like shit painted hood and everything like that, to all the Radwoods, it's fine because it's the Charade. But like I really do want to take a couple steps forward with the car this year, so I'm gonna look at doing at least the seats, like because it's got those pleather black seats in the front that I've put some shitty Walmart covers on because it's too hot. But it can't be too much money. I mean, I can do that. And then after that, I'm going to work on trying to get this thing, painted. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, as you as an inspiration, how you got the Stanza wagon painted, it doesn't need to be a Concours level paint job.
Sure.
But even like Earl Scheib can do a better job than what the Charade looks like to me right now. Like, just make it presentable.
Exactly. And if you did a little bit of the prep work yourself,
Yeah, which I have no problem doing. So that would even be better.
And the Earl Scheib paint job for the Stanza wagon was $1,500, which obviously that's not nothing, but it's pretty cheap for a paint job. And it came out pretty good.
Yeah.
And it was fine. 1,000 times better than what the Stanza looked like. So yeah, that's the thing. If you're willing to be okay with, there's a little bit of overspray here, or there's a little kind of a couple spots here that you're not entirely pleased with,
as long as the paint matches, because that's the thing I see every time is looking at that goddamn hood and I'm like, the paint doesn't match, and it just pisses me off. But something like that, that's just those little steps forward. It's like, it's cool, it's good, and you know what, you're right, it is the Charade. So if it comes to every Radwood looking the same damn way, then so be it. I'll do little things to it here and there.
Who else is going to bring a Charade to Radwood in Southern California? There's because
Ryan sold his.
Yep. And we saw one in Vegas when we went to the Vegas show,
which has been destroyed, actually.
What?
Yeah, that was our friend Evan. He actually got into a pretty nasty accident with that thing. He walked away.
Boy.
Which was crazy. But he actually got without getting too much into the nitty gritty, he got into a pretty rough accident in his Daihatsu.
That's not something you want to do.
No, it's not. But like, he's fine. He's still with us, which is great. But yeah, his that Charade has gone to the final resting place for all other Charades, and it's no longer with us. Yeah, so it's gone. But no. Yeah, that's the thing though. Is like, there's not a lot of them out there, and every time I think about selling it, it's not like I'm going to get a ton of money for the thing. And it's the only, I worked so fucking hard to find that car. And is it the best example of it? Like Ryan's was? No, it's not. Is it super rare and obscure, kind of like how Evans was, where it was like the sedan model? No, it's not. But it's my shit box. And
sure, exactly.
So I got to keep going with it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So that's my one project car update.
Nice.
My Charade.
Well, and you've been doing, I don't know when the last track day you did, but you've done a few of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got
not with the Charade, of course, with the Fit.
Not with the Charade, with the Fit. Yeah, I mean, I have some stuff planned for 2022 there's actually going to be the first West Coast full 2-day grid life event coming
Ooh.
in March.
Interesting.
And yeah, I'm kind of on the fence if I want to do it because it's actually being held at Willow Springs, which
Oh.
is a very cool racetrack, but they're holding the first day event at the smaller track at Streets, which I've been to. It's a great track, but then the second day event's going to be at the Big Willow racetrack, which I'm a little hesitant to put my fit on just for the simple fact that the speeds going into one of those corners is quite high, and I'm just not 100% sure. So if it was like being done at Button Willow, it'd be kind of a different story. So I'm a little on the fence if I'm going to do it.
Sure.
But if not, like our good friend of the show, Rob, is kind of getting his feet wet with track days, and he's like, I really want to go to Button Willow, Paul. So we're looking at going out in April, I think, to do a Button Willow event. I might go out before to do an event just because it's been since, I don't know, September, I think I went out last. So
all right. Yeah.
I'm kind of twitching over here, and I need to, get out. I need to get out.
I feel like for me, it's 2019 was the last time I was on a racetrack. It's like hard to not want to do that like all the time. Yeah. So
especially when it's kind of surrounding you, you know, you have me talking about it on our show, but you
stop talking about it.
But you have other people around though, like, you know, some of our friends that have been on the show are like, oh, well, I'm testing this car out at, you know.
Sure.
Oh no, you went out last year. You took the Corvette, remember?
Oh, that is true.
Was it Spring Mountain you were on?
That is true. How did I forget that? I was in my mind. I was thinking of Liam Neeson because that's the only thing that matters in my life.
Right.
But yes, that's true. Last year,
so you did get to so you got your.
But you know, you got
your big toe in it. You
got to admit, a Liam Neeson is more serious racing than a C8 Corvette. Come on.
Well, yeah, it totally is. Like, you know, you're driving a press car. It's like, well, I can only really drive it. You don't want to bend the car, you know.
No, exactly.
Versus
and
Liam
actually,
Neeson, which, you know.
That's true. Well, and I do remember that was the thing that I signed. If I crashed the car, it was a $10,000 bill. And if I crashed Liam Neeson, that car is worth like $600. So, you know.
Well, 2022 is going to be a good year, I think, Ethan. I think, you know, obviously I'm going to do some track stuff, but I think you're going to get out on the track too. I honestly do.
Yeah,
I think if it's not in Liam Neeson, it's going to be in some other way, shape, or form. If it's splitting sessions with me and the Fit or something like that, you know, we'll have some fun this year on the racetrack. You know, I think 2022 though is going to be a better year than 2021. We always have to keep positive mental attitude when it comes to these things.
Yep.
We've got some, you know, 2 Autopia 2099 shows coming up. We'll have Radwood later in the year. And just tons of fun stuff.
Yeah, and we have to, you know, assuming the COVID situation doesn't get worse, which I don't know, who knows? But we got to try to do a rally this year.
Yes.
Try to put on some sort of
love to do it.
Vintage car rally. We've been talking about it for a long time. I think this is the year we actually have to make it happen.
I think it is.
And I think too. I think we can put something on that's going to be pretty fun. So
I think we can. So
I think so too.
I think so too.
Yes.
It'll be wonderful.
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in my yard right now with cars that just sitting under tarps and covers and stuff. So I'm kind of hesitant to talk about any of my project cars because they haven't really gone many places lately. So my daily driver right now is that Subaru Legacy. So it's kind of like the most boring car in my fleet. I've been driving the most.
Yeah.
I mainly just because I was so excited that I got it to pass smog. So I'm like, I'm just going to drive the crap out of this thing. So
that's fine.
But yeah, you know, I would say maybe next week we'll do a little bit more project car updates and see how that's going.
We can see if my charade's sitting outside of my garage door on jack stands, or if it's got 2 new control arms on it and got an alignment. Like, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So, to be continued.
All right. Sweet. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We will record more frequently than we have been. I think we got a renewed vigor in this podcast. We want to try to keep it going, and the kind of crap that happened in our personal lives last year, hopefully that will be in the past and we can get more of this stuff going. And thanks everybody for listening. If you're really enjoying the show, we'd obviously really appreciate a review on iTunes or anywhere. And you definitely please subscribe to the new YouTube channel. I've uploaded every single episode. It took me 2 days straight. I was literally up for like 48 hours posting these all to YouTube. So every single episode that we've done is now on YouTube, on a new YouTube channel. So if you go to helloroad.tv/podcast, there's a listen now button at the top, and you click that and you can subscribe to the new YouTube channel for the Hello Road podcast. And why that's important is because at some point we want to try to do video podcasts live streaming on YouTube. So if you subscribe and you help us get up to 1,000 subscribers, we can start doing it. That's just like the cutoff. That's like the amount we need to get to do that live on YouTube. So we're not really anywhere near that yet, but if you can subscribe and tell your friends, that would be awesome. And we can hopefully do some of these live. And I told Paul before the show, and he might have seen some of my posts on Instagram, I'm building a little studio in the garage. So once we can like safely meet with guests again, we can have some guests in the studio and do that all video style. So, and hopefully try to do it with a production value that's up there pretty high. I listen to I watch the Smoking Tire. I like how they have their multi-camera setup. I'd really like to do something like that. So we got some big plans. Right now the garage is just in shambles. I've just been ripping out drywall, but the goal is in a couple months to have an actual recording like podcast studio YouTube set that's just permanently there. So we can do some cool stuff this year.
See, exciting stuff. 2022 is off to a great start. Yes. We're only 6 days into the year, and look at all this positivity and wonderfulness that's just spewing out of our speaker holes. It's wonderful.
Yes, exactly. Well, now I think we're probably done yelling out of our pie holes at you. Thank you so much for listening.
Yep.
Yes. Where can everybody find you on these social medias, Paul?
Oh my gosh, that's actually another thing of contention I gotta fix.
You gotta change the name again?
No,
okay.
You can find me at Paul's Finest Hour.
Okay, good.
Twitter, Instagram. For the next few hours, you're gonna have to request me, but I might change that.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was getting a little
Honda Fit 2022 or something.
No. Oh no! I didn't change the name. It just I had actually. Without getting too deep into it, I had made my account private. I just kind of went through and cleaned things up a little bit because, I was like getting excited. I'm like, yeah, I've got all these followers. And I was looking through everybody and I was like, I don't know all these people in Russia. So I cleaned things up. So I'll probably open that back up again. But you can find but you can find me at Paul's Finest Hour. I can, you see fun little things I post up on my Instagram, but also a lot of capybara stuff on Instagram. That's what I'm into and I'm known for now, so that's
there you go.
You find your daily capybara inspiration from me.
Yes.
So what about you?
Okay, youtube.com/Hello Road, and like I said, if you want, you should definitely subscribe to our new podcast channel, helloroad.tv/podcast. Mr. Ethan Tufts on Twitter and Instagram, and at some point, like I don't know, I feel like I should create a Hello Road Instagram and Twitter, but it's like I keep thinking about that. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll create a Hello Road Instagram and Twitter, but at this point, not gonna happen.
I like yours. I think it all works. It all flows well. It all flows well.
Yeah. Sometimes I just kind of wonder if it's weird that I don't have that, but I actually did try that a few years ago, but it was super annoying to like manage multiple Instagram accounts and Twitter accounts, and I gave up on it. But we'll see. Maybe if we do this rally, maybe we'll need it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe we need a PR person.
Yeah, we should hire it with our massive budget.
We should.
Yes.
You get paid in
shekels?
Founders all day IPA and
yes. Right now I've got a hazy little thing IPA. This is a go-to.
Yeah, they're go-to or Wolf Pup. Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
We pay you in. So
yes.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you soon.